Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going inside the writer's room to break down the pitch for a new, and I think, really vital TV drama called Inland Rising. This is the kind of concept that feels less like fiction and, honestly, more like a dispatch from our very near future.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with the core idea. The pitch kicks off with a comparison that, well, it should make any fan of prestige TV sit up and pay attention. You see, when you call your show a spiritual cousin to The Wire, you're making a huge promise, right? You're saying this is going to be a layered, morally complex look at how our institutions shape and sometimes break the people inside them. It's super ambitious for sure, but it immediately tells you the story is going to have some real weight.
So where does this all come from? Well, the show actually starts as a reimagining of this really underrated 1991 film by John Sayles called City of Hope. If you haven't seen it, it was this prophetic, sprawling story about a crumbling American city. It was basically screaming about urban decay way before that was a hot topic. And the whole point of this pitch is that those themes, they've only gotten more urgent.
And what's so smart about this, and what this slide shows so perfectly, is how it maps the anxieties of 1991 directly onto our anxieties today. The core issues are the same, but the language, the machinery behind them, has evolved. What was once corruption and gentrification now looks a lot like tech displacement. Youth alienation is now supercharged by the gig economy, and those broken institutions are suffering from a deep, deep political precarity. So you see, it's not just a remake, it's more like a translation of this vital American story for our time.
All right, so if you're going to tell a story about the new fault lines in America, where do you set it? You could go for the obvious, right? LA, New York. But no, the creators here made a way more interesting choice. They set the show in Merced, California. And this right here, this is exactly why that choice is so brilliant. Merced exists in this fragile in-between space. It's stuck between being overlooked and, well, being colonized by the tech industry. It's this place where all the big promises of the future are just crashing head-on into the tough realities of the present.
And you got to understand, Merced is this young, incredibly diverse city. It's really a microcosm of what modern California actually looks like. With a majority Hispanic population and big Asian, white, and black communities, this isn't some uniform, monolithic town. It's this complex tapestry of cultures and experiences that gives you such a rich, authentic backdrop for an ensemble drama, you know? And check this out. This slide just lays out the 4 key pressures that are turning the city into a perfect storm for drama. You've got the ghost of the high-speed rail project, which is attracting all these speculators. You have a brand new UC campus, creating that classic tension between the town and the university. You've got the historic farming community being threatened by automation and AI. And then you have that stark visual, pawn shops right next to glossy new tech cafes. It's a total crucible of conflict.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea for a TV show. The pressure in Merced is very, very real. In 2024, nearly 2,000 public servants had to fight for a year and a half on the brink of a strike just to get a raise that would help them keep up with healthcare costs. This is the kind of lived reality the show is aiming to tap into, that daily, grinding fight just for some dignity.
Okay, so that's the setting. Let's get into the core conflict, the engine that's going to drive the whole first season.
The whole story for Season 1 gets kicked off by one single massive event. An AI startup from the Bay Area moves into town chasing tax breaks and cheap land. Of course, it's pitched as revitalization, but for the actual people on the ground, it's more like an earthquake, sending shockwaves through every single part of their community.
And this one event, it allows the show to just dive into all these incredible intersecting themes. Farm to Algorithm looks at that collision of agriculture and AI. Land, Labor, and Legacy gets into the fight over who really owns the city's future. And the UC Effect examines how the university is both helping and harming the community. It's a structure that just promises a really deep, multifaceted story.
The show is also not afraid to get into the murky ethics of local politics, pulling from real-world situations. I mean, this quote from an actual Merced City Council member explaining his vote on a contract for his brother-in-law's company, this is exactly the kind of moral gray area the series would live and breathe in. See, it's not about good guys and bad guys. It's about that blurry line between serving the public and, well, serving yourself.
Okay, but look, systems and themes, they're nothing without the people who are actually caught inside them, right? A show like this, it absolutely lives or dies on its characters, and the pitch lays out a really compelling ensemble.
So at the center of it all, you've got the fighters. You've got Rosa, who's trying to make change from inside the system, wrestling with every compromise. And then you have Noah, this young activist who wants to burn that same system down from the outside. You can just imagine it, right? Their ideological clash would be the absolute beating heart of the show.
Then you have the legacies. Characters like Reverend Mason and Hector Ramirez, they basically are the history and soul of Merced. They're the anchors, the people trying to hold on to their dignity and their community in the face of what others call progress, but what feels to them like they're just being erased.
And finally, you get the insiders. And these, to me, are often the most fascinating characters, you know? The ones with a conscience who are trapped inside the machine. May, the well-intentioned tech lead, and Dr. Baines, the academic whistleblower. They've both got to make that impossible choice. Is it my career or my principles? Am I going to be complicit, or am I going to face the consequences?
Okay, so let's be real. In a world that is just completely saturated with TV shows, what makes this one a potential hit? Why should this story in this place matter right now? Well, The Pitch has a very, very clear answer for that.
The whole argument here is that today's breakout hits, they don't just happen by accident. They have a specific formula, a combination of key ingredients that help them cut through all the noise. And Inland Rising, well, it's been engineered to hit every single one of these marks.
First up, the emotional hook. This isn't some abstract political drama. It's about the fear of being priced out of your own home, of your job becoming obsolete, of your neighborhood becoming unrecognizable. I mean, these are anxieties that millions of people feel deep down, on a visceral level. That makes the story instantly relatable.
Second, it's got that unexpected point of view. We've seen a million stories set in LA and San Francisco. By taking us to the Central Valley, the show offers a fresh perspective on California and really on America. It's a story that tells us, hey, the future isn't just happening in the big, shiny coastal hubs. It's being fought for, right now, in the places we've all been ignoring.
Third, it embraces real, true authenticity. The idea is for the show to move between languages naturally, just like people do in a city like Merced. It's not going to hold your hand or treat culture like some kind of costume. That kind of specificity, that's what builds deep trust with an audience. It rewards you for paying close attention.
And finally, and this is maybe the most crucial point, this story is designed to live beyond the screen. Because it's pulling from real headlines about labor disputes, land use, and AI ethics, it's literally designed to be a conversation starter. It's the kind of show that could spark podcasts, articles, even classroom discussions, which would give it a life and a relevance that goes way beyond when the credits roll.
So in the end, the real power of this pitch is how it uses one very specific story to ask a huge universal question. By showing us the fight for the soul of Merced, Inland Rising kind of forces us to look around our own neighborhoods and wonder about the battles being fought in our own backyards. And it leaves us with this really provocative thought. What story is your town waiting to tell?